There's a moment every collector reaches, usually quietly, when they realize something feels off. Not with the cards themselves, but with the reasons they're being told to want them. Certain names come up again and again, certain Pokemon, certain artworks. You're told they matter, that they're important, that they're the ones that you're supposed to chase. And they very well may be, and often they are. But knowing a card is important. It's not the same as feeling that it belongs with you. That difference, subtle as it is where long-term collecting actually begins. And there's nothing wrong with that. But something interesting happens when importance becomes instruction. When appreciation turns into expectation. You begin to ask yourself questions that sound reasonable, but aren't always honest. Do I like this card, or do I like the idea of owning it? Would I still care about it if no one else did? These questions don't have right or wrong answers, but ignoring them is how collections grow to eventually become restless. Maybe it's a character you've always liked, even if no one else ever talked about it. Maybe it's a theme where you wish you could just immerse yourself within it. Maybe it's a card that made you think of it almost as a painting, as if Michelangelo himself created the modern version of the touch painting. In both examples, the magic isn't motion, it's anticipation. The pause that makes the moment eternal. Adam doesn't need to touch God to be transformed, and Lugia doesn't need to attack to feel legendary. They remind us that true power, whether on a chapel ceiling or on a Pokemon card, is most compelling just before it moves. These cards don't demand attention, they earn it. You find yourself coming back to them, holding them longer, returning them to the same place. Not because they're rare, but because they resonate. You can certainly try, however, resonance is difficult to explain. Almost to the point where you might want multiple copies. You can't justify it with numbers, you can't defend it with logic, but you also can't dismiss it. This is where collecting becomes personal. Not curated for others, but aligned with yourself. Collectors who last, really last, aren't driven by momentum. They're driven by recognition. They know when something fits, and just as importantly, they know when something doesn't. Trends move quickly. Cards rise, cards cool off, attention shifts. But alignment moves slowly, and that's its strength. A collection built on alignment doesn't feel pressure to evolve. It doesn't need constant justification. It grows deliberately, or not at all. Some collectors mistake this for stagnation. It isn't. It's confidence. Because when you collect what genuinely speaks to you, you're no longer reacting, you're choosing. That doesn't mean ignoring rarity or dismissing condition, or rejecting important cards. It just means that understanding why they matter to you, not just why they matter to everyone else. And that understanding changes everything. There will always be cleaner copies, more talked about releases, more celebrated Pokemon. But the cards that stay, the ones that remain long after trends pass, are almost always the ones chosen quietly, chosen without urgency, without comparison, chosen because they felt right. Collecting doesn't need permission. It doesn't need consensus. It doesn't need to be loud. The most meaningful collections aren't built to be impressive. They're built to be honest. Honest about taste, honest about attachment, honest about why certain objects matter, even when no one else is watching. That's what gives a collection its weight. Not price, not popularity, but alignment. This is EDGEWEAR Co, a place to slow down, to look closer, and to collect with intention, not instruction. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. If there are any cards you would like to see featured, please let us know in the comments below.